Okay, we are up to day 188, going through my old journal. The quote for today says, "It may be the cock that crows, but it is the hen that lays the eggs." And it says, what is your interpretation of the quote? What is the message? What is the tone here? Humorous, playful, or serious? Why do you think that? I have no idea what I would have answered to this question. So if you're following along, you may pause and take a minute to think about how you would respond. And let's see what I wrote. So, it may be the cock that crows, but the hen that lays the eggs. Okay. And I mean, it's probably relevant that that's Margaret Thatcher that said that. So, I said, I mean, I feel like it's saying something about men and women. Men have historically been the most outspoken leaders, I put it in quotes, in society. They tend to think they're the most important, but in reality, without women, there wouldn't be a society. Yeah, and I said you only need one man to make a ton of babies. So from a reproductive capacity, most men aren't really necessary if you're looking just at reproduction, which is funny because recently there's been this video going around of this guy, I think it was Akon, the musician, rapper, singer, whatever, from back in the day, and he was trying to say the opposite. He was like, you don't even need, men are the ones that make the babies. You don't even need a woman. Like, it almost sounded like he didn't even understand like how babies are conceived. Like, he basically was like, you just need our sperm and you can put it in an incubator. Like, you need an egg too. Like, I don't know. But like, some men have this idea that like you don't even need women to make babies. Like, it's theirs is the most important. But yeah, that's not true. You need an egg and a sperm, and as far as I know, I don't know that you can make babies outside of a womb. Maybe you can, but anyway, I said, I think the tone is meant to be a bit of all three. So it said humorous, playful, serious. And then I said, coming from Thatcher, I think it was probably serious, but she knows that she needed to throw in some humor and playfulness to keep from offending or upsetting the men. It's so crazy how much my views on feminism have changed in the past few years. I used to think I was and I have in quotes, strong, independent woman, but in reality, I was still playing into the male-centered role. Yeah, so I do not want to admit this, but like, seeing all this stuff where they talk about like pick-me girls and things like that, I mean, I wasn't like 100% like a pick-me, but like I definitely had some pick-me characteristics, and even if I didn't like vocalize them, like they were in my mind. But I also think part of that plays into like, anyway, let me see what else I wrote. I said, I believe women were too emotional and too loud / opinionated and into drama and shallow things. Even though I was constantly seeing men do all those things while not getting scolded for it. So yeah, like you hear all of these things about men and women, and then so I had developed, like, I was one of those girls that was like, well, I don't really get along well with girls. I get along better with guys. And I, like, wanted to be perceived as one of those girls that was just like chill and cool and like could just get along with the guys and not get offended too easily and not be too caught up in drama. So yeah, like that's like pick me like thoughts or whatever. But when you really look at it, there's like, guys are a lot of drama too. Like, even if girls are drama, guys are just as bad. And I've realized that a lot of the things that they talk about as women being too emotional, like men are emotional too, but like in a different way. Like, women may cry and get upset, and yeah, there are some like crazy crazy women that, you know, do kind of go off, get set off on certain things. But like men with anger issues, it's like you don't really see anger as like being emotional, but there's so many men that like have anger issues or that will just get upset and you know, go off, but they don't see, but people don't perceive that as them being like emotional, but anger is an emotion. And like I just didn't, like my mom was like kind of like me, a little bit of like a peacemaker and just wanted to make sure like we didn't like people being upset. And like really, like with my dad, we were constant, you know, like they say that women are these like the ones that are crazy and bring all this drama. My dad like was always in drama. He loved to start drama. He loved to talk about people. We had to like kind of like, I had gotten used to like feeling out like what his mood was. And so like, you know, you knew when you had to like walk on eggshells around him because there were certain moods that he had that like you could say something that would kind of like set him off, not in like a, he wasn't like violent, but he was like, would get his feelings hurt real easy. And like, yeah, he didn't really yell that much, but he would get upset. And like you were always having to kind of like, it was always just kind of like, let's make sure we keep dad calm, you know, like we don't upset him. And so I don't know why I had this perception that like girls were the drama and they were the ones starting. And like, yeah, there's gossip. If you work somewhere, there's gossip. And I don't know why I always thought it was women, but because just like thinking back, guys like to gossip just as much as women do in all the places that I've worked and stuff. And you know, in terms of me thinking that I was like a like, oh, I don't really make friends with girls that easily, like I didn't really fit in with girls because I think a lot of girls, they teach you that like, well, you need to be into like playing with dolls and you need to be into makeup and dresses and being a wife and a wedding, and that never really like clicked with me too much. Like I thought like, well, I just don't get along with girls. Like I'm not into makeup. I don't have anything to talk to them about. And it wasn't that they were dramatic. It was just like I couldn't relate to them. And plus, because I didn't have things to talk with them, most of the girls about, like, and I was shy, so it wasn't like a lot of girls like went out of their way to make friends with me. And I was shy, so I wasn't going out and making friends with them. And I didn't know the things to say to be friends with them, you know, like now I kind of know you can like go up and like compliment them on their hair, their outfits or things like that. And that's kind of a way to like make connections with people. But like, I just always felt like that was kind of fake. And, but with guys, because I've said, you know, I'm somewhat attractive, I'm attractive enough for guys to come up and talk to me. It just, I made friends with guys because they were the ones that would come up and like talk to me. And so I just felt like I was more like one of those guys, girls, because most of my friends were guys because they were the ones that were like making an effort to talk to me. Now I realize like they probably thought that I was putting them in the friend zone. Probably all the guys that were coming up and being friends with me, they weren't actually in it to make friends with me. They were in it because they were trying to put themselves in a position to potentially like have a relationship with me or hook up with me. So I don't know how many of these like guy friends that I had were actually like friends or cared about like any of the stuff I said or talked about. So yeah, I think that's part of the reason that I don't really have any friends right now, because I just don't feel like I totally relate to a lot of people. And like, yeah, there's this girl that she does the thing, like she's one of those that like anytime I see her, she's like, oh, she'll go out of her way to say like, oh, you're so pretty, your eyelashes, you know, they're so nice. And I'm just, but I know that it's fake. Like I know that that's just what she says to like And so I don't know how to like reciprocate that, or, you know, I don't know. But anyway, what was the quote again? Yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to go into like the reproductive side of it again, there's been some talk about, you know, why do we put all of this on women to be on birth control and to be the ones when it's like one guy could impregnate like multiple women, and like the women are the ones that are the ones having the children. That's what I was getting with that. I don't know. I guess that's all I had to say about that for now. Like I said in another video like a couple weeks ago, the male and female dynamic right now is going through a transformation, and so we'll see how this plays out over the next decade or so, I guess. But anyway, yeah, I will be back tomorrow with day 189.